Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into another video. Today's video is going to be about Yagorath, and yes, I am speaking really fast because I want to make this video as fast as possible. So, before we go into every single interaction possible with Yagorath and all of her three different forms, yes, I said three, I'm talking about her planted form, her movement form, which is the ball or the donut, whatever you want to call her, or her ultimate form as well, which is the third form. Maybe I didn't actually explain that right, but either way, before we go into those interactions, I need to sort of explain to you guys what CC is and what every single type of CC does. Okay, so CC, it is crowd control, and usually stands for certain, let's say, alterations to your character, that to yours or to the enemy, that can allow to contain or stop or limit the enemy's movement, abilities, and so on. As you guys have probably already know this, you already seen stuns, cripples, slows, all of this is CC. The only ones that are not CC are actually reveals, because, well, imagine Lex having something like resilience that can, reduce the effect of this CC, and then it doesn't work. So yeah, there you go. There's also the hard CC and like soft CC, but I'm not gonna go on that. I'm just gonna go on the different types of CCs that exist, the crowd controls that exist. I'm gonna start off with slows. This is pretty simple. Slows you down. I mean, what else can I tell you, right? And yes, before you start asking, Yagorath does get affected by slows, both on any of her forms except for the ultimate. I mean, she's completely CC immune on her ultimate, so there's only a reason why I want to talk about the ultimate, but I'm going to explain that in the end of the video, so stick around. You're going to find it really interesting, just like I did. But either way, slows, that's the most basic form of CC, and resilience counters it. Pretty simple. Yagorath gets affected on both her spinning mode or her standing still mode, okay? After this one, we have the most common one that everyone knows, cripples. Cripples limit your usage of movement abilities. You cannot use movement abilities, all right? Anything that is considered a movement ability will be limited to you. For example, Mave, Prowl, and Pounce, both of them will get canceled. Now, I know that you are probably wondering, okay, so that means Yagorath cannot spin. No, she can still spin. She can still move around, because here's the little interesting thing, and we already start to have here some information about Yagorath. Yagorath doesn't actually go into ball mode as a movement ability, it goes into ball mode as a stance. So, in order to explain this and to understand to the max possible, we're going to look at Imani. And Imani has two different stances, which is fire and ice. Now, I know that these are not elements on Yagorath, but still, they decided to put the more point tank form and the most mobile tank form, let's say off tank form. We'll go like that, right? So basically mobile and standing. But these are different stances, so cripples cannot, I repeat, cannot stop her from going into ball mode, which is the movement mode, the spinning mode, or standing mode. It literally does not do anything. The only thing that it will do, however, is actually stop her acceleration. Acceleration is her movement ability, is the one that makes her spin faster and deal damage. By the way, I actually forgot to mention this, but slows will work on both her standing and spinning form. And if you're standing and you switch to spin, the duration of the slow will still go on normally, because switching stances does not clean CC, all right? Also, her, how's it called, hardened, does not cleanse CC. So here's the first one. Maeve's ultimate, you cannot clean it. I'm sorry. You can reduce it all the way down to 2 seconds like everybody else with resilience, but that's about it. Okay. Now, back to cripples. It stops movement abilities. Acceleration is their movement ability. That is pretty much it. So you're probably wondering, okay, so Burn Monster. Yeah, Burn Monster is only going to stop her from using the acceleration. If she just goes into mobile mode and just starts walking away out of the fire, and she can start using her acceleration after that, unless she was already using it as soon as she touched the fire, which means that then the acceleration goes into a cooldown. Now, onto a more advanced form of cripples, which is silence. And before you ask, there's only 3 characters in the game currently who has silence on abilities, not ultimates, abilities, which is Vora, Torvald, and Xiaoling. Now, Vora is the only one in the entire game that can hit multiple people with the silence, which is pretty powerful if you ask me. It's one of her talents. I do have a video coming up for that if you guys want to watch it and understand more tricks and tips about that talent specifically, because a lot of people don't actually think it's good. But basically, silence does not just stop movement abilities, it also stops every other ability except for shooting. A perfect example for what it does is if you ever have been ulted by a Yagorath, you'll notice you can only shoot. This is a silence. You pretty much can shoot and do nothing else at all, alright? You cannot try to use the movement abilities or use your, your grenades or whatever, depending on the character you're using. You only can shoot and that's it. And yes, before you ask, Bomb King cannot detonate his bombs. He can only throw them. That's as real as that can be. You can still make them blow instantly if you shoot at a shield or people who are CC immune. I mean, that's something, right? There you go. But, by the way, since I'm mentioning that, yes, you can stick bombs to her. And yes, Chain Reaction is a huge counter to her. After the 6th bomb, after that, all the bombs will just start disappear, so you can place new ones, so you can only have 6 deployed bombs. If you throw 6 bombs at her, you'll deal almost 75% of her entire HP. It is pretty nutty. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's really powerful. If you guys ever want to counter Yagorath with Chain Reaction, there you go. Now, we're back to silences, and yeah, it will stop pretty much everything, including when she's on spinning mode, her Acid and Sonar, it will also stop it. Which, by the way, since I'm mentioning this, if you haven't noticed, Chronos doesn't actually reduce the cooldowns of these abilities, including Acceleration, when you're in spinning mode. I'm assuming that it's because you're in a stance mode and they actually forgot to change it, so maybe in the future it's going to be fixed. But as for now, that's it, okay? You cannot reduce that. So until they fix it, don't use Chronos. It's not really worth it, unless you're trying to reduce the cooldown of Harden. Otherwise, just don't do it. But let's go into other CCs, shall we? Roots. Now, roots are interesting, because roots does the same thing as silence, but it actually locks you in place. Actually, not silence, sorry, cripples. It will limit your ability to use your movement abilities, and it locks you on place. Okay, you cannot even be knocked back. And by the way, that is also a CC, which we'll be talking about as well in a second. But there you go. So roots will stop you right there. And if you're asking if Yagorath gets affected by roots, yes, she does. If she's in spinning mode and you throw her a root with Grover or Imani, it will literally stop her. She will stand right there. And then she has to start getting momentum again, so that's also pretty good. Alright, you can use that to pretty much shut down a Yagorath. If the Yagorath is smart enough, she'll just wait for the root to go away and start using Acceleration straight away after it ends so that she can just go away. They also have a card for Resilience on her base kit, and then she can buy Resilience, but I mean, honestly, even against a new Ceres that has been buffed with full stuns, trust me, it is not perfect. It is really, really disgusting. Stuns all over the place, but seriously, I hope they actually nerf that. Now, back into CCs. Stuns. Stuns is the next CC that I have here to talk about, and stuns is pretty much the same thing as, let's say, a silence, but it will also stop you from using your weapon. So it's a more advanced form than silence. You literally cannot use anything. It's insane. But you can still be knocked back, and on contrary to roots, okay? So it's simple to understand sort of by the names, okay? The only difference here that a lot of people have problems with is the cripples and the silence. So there you go. Now you know. If you're asking yourself if she can be stunned, yes, she can. In fact, this is why I'm doing this video. Some of the abilities and CCs that you can throw at her will be transformed into stuns instead of the natural thing, okay? So now let's talk about polymorphs. Polymorphs can only be done currently for 2 characters, Pip and Moji. And, well, they kind of decided it was best not to transform a huge-ass worm into a chicken or a cookie. So when you do this ability to them, this ultimate of polymorph to them, it will actually just stun them. There you go. That's pretty simple. And yeah, pretty cool. Now, let's go into the next one, shall we? Fear. Fear is the ultimate of Maldumba. If you ever seen this before, the ultimate of Maldumba basically makes people run in fear. They cannot do anything. They just, like, it's like almost they're stunned, but they're moving. All right, it's really weird. You cannot shoot, you cannot attack, you cannot use their abilities. If you have any cleansing ability, I think you can still use it, but they kind of removed most of them, so there's not really much anything that can save you anymore on that. But yeah, so fear does that, and if you're asking, does Yagorath get affected by fear? Not exactly. She gets stunned instead, so there you go. It's pretty interesting, okay? That's pretty interesting. So that's one, those or two are the ones that already changed, so transformations and fears. Now there are a couple of other CCs. One of them is, actually two of them is actually Atlas that can provide. One of them is the ultimate, which banish people, and basically you can't attack, use abilities, movement, you cannot even move, and you cannot be damaged or healed. But you can still contest, which, by the way, in my opinion, it should not do that, but okay. So basically, yes, you can still be banished as Yagorath, surprise, surprise. About the rewind, however, here's the thing. I'm actually, as I'm recording this, I cannot really remember the test we did with Atlas. I could just stop this right now and just go back, but honestly, I'll just put the footage on the screen so you guys can see. I know that on her standing form, the rewind from Atlas will not do anything, but I'm not sure about her movement form. If it does work, it's kind of weird. I mean, I would just do both of them, because it still affects the HP, so I definitely would just think about it. But if it doesn't, then good. All right, now let's go into the rest of the things. Now, there's a couple of ults here that I want to talk about. You guys are probably going to ask about them. So, for example, Khan's ultimate, what does it do? Can you grab, Yagorath? No, you can stun her instead. You will stun her. I'm not entirely sure if you actually remain with 30% of your ultimate as if you failed. Because, I mean, technically speaking, you still used it on something, so you should not. If I have the footage on screen, I'll try to zoom in into the percentage of the ult of the Khan so you guys can see it. But yeah, pretty much you'll stun her. Also, you will not do anything if you have normal Commander's Grab with no stuns. But if you have these stuns on the Commander's Grab, yes, you will stun her. So there you go. But you will not move her. The only thing that I've seen moving a Yagorath, believe it or not, is the next champion, which is Talus. That's right. Talus can ult Yagorath on both of her forms. How can you ult the Yago? You can push her back as well, which is, I really don't understand how, but okay. So there you go. You cannot punch her, by the way. You can punch her, it will only do damage, but it will not move her, so there you go. But you can still use the ultimate, which is kind of weird, but okay. Yes, also, Zen can ult her independently if you're in standing form or movement form. But the difference is, if you're on standing form, you'll take less damage, so Guillotine will not be a one-shot hit. And, well, on their movement form, if you are standing in that form while he ults you, while he's using Guillotine, you're kind of dead. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. But there you go. So now I want to talk about some other interactions here that we have. Sarah's ultimate does absolutely nothing. Okay? Absolutely nothing. Io's ultimate does nothing. Does just damage. That's it. She can still stun Yagorath with Luna, as is obvious because stuns work, as I told you before. You can knock her up in the sky with Buck. But you can still slow her down with the net shot. Bonken can and will stun her with both her Grumpy Bomb and her ultimate. The Poppy Bomb won't do anything. It will just do damage. Also, Ashe. Ashe will not be able to move Yagorath with both her Kinetic Burst or Shoulder Bash. It will just not do anything. It'll just do the damage. And you can still stun her with your ultimate. And here's, since we're talking about this, is our first ultimate interaction of Yagorath. Yes, you can ult Ashe while she's ulting. So if she's in the Immortality field and you're standing there with Yagorath inside of the Immortality field, you can eat her. This is actually easy to understand because the type of execution in this scenario is the same type of execution that, let's say, Moji has. It basically makes a person vanish and, well, we'll do the same thing as Moji, which, for example, if you eat a Terminus and he has his ultimate, he's not going to be able to ult now because he's been eaten. He's been completely executed. And unfortunately, there's different types of execution, and I want to talk about that in just a bit. But right now, I want to talk about the different interactions, okay? So there we go. Ashe can still stun her and can be eaten by it. Reversal from Androxus can reverse both the spikes and the poison. Terminus can absorb both the poison and the spikes. There you go. Cassie cannot disengage, as you can understand, Yagorath. I think that's pretty clear. Corvus can still slow her down with the dagger and with the ultimate. And the ultimate still does some good damage, you know, nothing too crazy. But if you're in her standing form, she has 40% damage reduction, so yeah. There you go. Now, Drogos. Drogos is the character that I want to talk about as well, since we're talking about the ultimate of Ashe. Drogos has a very special interaction, and this is why I wanted to do this video as well. Drogos, if ults Yago, it will kill her, independently if it has a hardened mode, standing form, spinning form, whatever, right? But what happens if you ult a Yagorath that is actually ulting somebody else? Would it kill Yagorath? Well, the answer is no. It only takes her away from that form, because technically speaking, when she's in this ultimate, she has a second HP bar, so it's like a second life, right? She is almost, let's say, like Imani, where she actually becomes the dragon without having to change bodies. So if you kill the dragon, you don't kill Imani. You would have to kill the original body, but the original body is hidden, you know, it's hidden behind that HP bar, so you have to destroy that HP bar, and only then can you ult Yagorath to make sure she dies with the ultimate. Also, here's the thing, you may be thinking, since we were talking about executions, Drogos is an execution. No, it's not. If you guys go to the description of the ultimate, it's 100% of max HP, which means that it does the max HP that it has. Unfortunately, with a ROM, it will still consume both the soul armor and his normal HP. It will not, it will not save him having that second HP bar because they're together, they're connected. On contrary to, for example, Yagorath, which actually becomes with a second HP bar, which is really weird. If they decided to actually have both bars and this bar would just show up, and if they'd go down below that bar, it would just take away from the ultimate. That'd be pretty cool, but no. So killing her, there you go. It pretty much stops her from, just can perform the ultimate and gets it out. Which, in case you are wondering, if Fernando can ult to save the person who's about to be eaten by Yagorath, well, guess again, no, it can't. Because, as I told you before, since just like Fernando cannot save somebody being eaten by emoji, or an Ashe with the ultimate cannot be saved by that ultimate to not be eaten by emoji as well, the same thing happens here, okay? Now, there is one interaction that I hope that I'm going to be able to record and put it in the video. If I'm not, just please remind me and I'll test it out and I'll let you guys know down in the comments below. I basically want to ult somebody with Yagorath while then having a Drogos ulting me in order to, try to stop my ultimate. But before the Drogos touches me, I want a Fernando on my team to ult and stop me from getting out of my ultimate form while being immortal, if I'm making it understand. I hope you guys understand this. This is kind of an idea that I had in my head, and I kind of want to see how it works. But if I did remember, it should be up on screen right now. If not, please just let me know in the comments below. I'll make sure I have a comment with that. Don't worry about it, okay? Now, on to the rest of the characters. Dredge's ultimate, it will literally just do add damage. It will not knock her back, in case you don't know. If somebody survives inside of Dredge's ultimate, it basically gets pushed away from the ultimate. Well, Yagorath is not going to have that because she's completely immune to, knockbacks, except for Talus. Don't ask me why. Eevee, when ulting Yagorath, basically it slows her down. If you have resilience, it pretty much just it doesn't even care about the ultimate. But it will cancel all acceleration since it's cripples. So pretty simple to understand. Okay, so there you go. Furia will stun her, which also stuns will also cancel her movement ability if it's already in action, acceleration. So there you go. Grover can root her. That's pretty simple to understand. Io, as I said before, does absolutely nothing. Genos cannot target Yagorath with the Void Grip. I actually had a print taken by a friend of mine who was recording with me at the time, and he made sure that he looked like he took a print showing that the Void Grip ability is not there available for you to use against Yagorath, okay? Okay, so back into the track. Canessa, I actually have here a small little thing that I want to point out. In case you guys don't know, the headshot or the critical box where you do the headshot damage, the extra damage, whatever, for Yagorath, it's in her mouth. Just like you use it in first person, the mouth, there you go. That's the thing. And, well, Canessa, when ulting, it will see the symbol on her back if she's facing the other side, but it will not count. You still have to hit her mouth, okay? Don't think that it can, you can just ignore it. The symbol is there, unfortunately, for some reason, which will kind of trick a lot of Canessas, but it does not let you do it. Also, Maeve, the ultimate, the entire blindness thing, yes, it still works. You can only reduce it with resilience, that's it. You will still be completely blind, unless you use your ultimate. I mean, that's pretty simple. You're CC immune on her ultimate, so there you go. Makoa cannot hook her, as it's pretty obvious, and if he's ulting, please don't try to ult him with Yagorath. He's completely CC immune by base on his ultimate. Alright, just think about it. Dumba, pretty simple. I'm not gonna explain it again. We did that in the start of the video. Fear will stun her instead, and you can still stun her with your snake. Moji cannot transform her. Instead, it will just stun her. Pip will just stun her, but it can slow her down with the explosive flask. Rum, the ultimate can stun her, but you cannot move her with Juggernaut. You'll just deal damage. Ceres can stun her with the talent that allows you to stun, but the ultimate does nothing. Literally nothing. You're just there. Shelling, you have cripples or silences, as I mentioned before. You'll always pretty much just stop her movement ability or acceleration from being used, or if it's already used, you'll just cancel it. It'll go on cooldown. Silences will stop every single ability except for attacking, as of course, as I mentioned to you before. Strix, the ultimate will work. You will still be blinded. Okay, so there you go. Beyond that, it does absolutely nothing else. Just shoots, and she has a lot of damage reduction. Trust me, you're not gonna do anything. I already mentioned Talus. He can ult her for some reason, cannot push her away with the punch. Torvald cannot do anything with his ultimate to her, except for a tiny little bit of damage, but you can still silence her. If she's already going in acceleration mode towards you, you just right-click and boom. You literally just silence her. You just stopped her right there. Pretty simple. Vora can silence her or cripple her acceleration, pretty much like Xia Ling, and you can alter as well, okay? So there you go. And that's also another interaction. Remember me telling you Drogos can ulting Yago to stop her from, killing somebody, basically taking her away from her HP bar of their ultimate. Vora can do the same thing. Attack a couple times, make sure that her HP goes down to 66%, and then just ult her and you'll execute her. Also, by the way, Vora's ultimate is not an execution, it's 100% damage. I know that if you go into the description of the ability, it says that, but it's not, because if you have a Fernando ulting near the target you're about to kill, it will save it. So this person is not executed, it's just taking 100% damage that then gets nullified by Fernando. So there you go. Okay, that needs to be fixed, I know, and there's a couple of other abilities. Lex, for example, Lex's ultimate is an execution as well of the same style as Vora. It will do 100% of the damage of the target, but if there's an immortality field right next to this person, damage reduction, he will not die. So honestly, the real executions in this game are pretty much just Yagorath and Moji, where they literally make sure people just vanish. They disappear, they die, they get executed. All the other executions like Drogos, Vora, Lex, all of this is actually just 100% max damage, max HP damage. Which then again, 100% immunity to damage will stop it, but that's pretty much it. All right, Yagorath. Yagorath cannot ult another Yagorath, okay, just so you know. There's literally nothing like that, but you can still slow her down. I mean, the poison pools of Yagorath slow people down, in case you didn't know that, so there you go. And like I mentioned before, Zen can ult her. And yeah, I know that I didn't mention a couple other characters like Barrick or Victor or Vivian, but like, please, people, what do you want me to test on those characters? Seriously, they do damage, that's it, nothing else, okay? I only brought Lex up because of his ultimate, that's literally it, nothing else. And there's other characters here that I didn't mention because, their CC is the exact same CC as other characters. I hope I did test out what I was mentioning before of the being saved by Fernando while I'm ulting somebody else while the Drogos is ulting me. to try to stop me from using my ult completely. I hope I did, and if I did, I hope I put it again right now on the screen. So since I spoke so fast, I hope you guys catch every single thing that I told you. I apologize if this seems like unscripted or anything, but I have actually a page full of interactions. It was written down with all of these interactions here, all the different types of CCs, all the different types of things that can be done to Yagorath and vice versa, and I just hope I didn't miss anything else. Alright, if I did miss anything, please ask away in the comments below. I tested so many things that I'll probably just answer you in the comments, you know, and that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I try to make this video as fast as possible so you don't spend here an hour, okay, trying to figure out what is your specific question, you know. So I did 25 minutes. Seems pretty good to me. Hope you guys enjoyed that. That's pretty much it. And if you guys enjoyed the video, do subscribe. It's free. You can always cancel it back in the future, you know. And I'm gonna do more videos like these, you know. I'm gonna probably do some lore videos, some voice line interactions videos, some more myth busting with other characters and so on. And I'll do news, I do lore analytics, teaser theories, and etc. All that beautiful thing about paladins. I'm planning on doing some more stuff without being paladins, but right now there's just so much to do with paladins that I'm just going to focus on that. I also do the .exe videos, in case you guys haven't seen. I did Vora, Tiberius, Rum, and Maeve. They're all back on my channel. They're on the playlist if you guys want to go and check them out. Give me your feedback. Let me know if you enjoyed them. Yeah, I know I'm not a professional at them, but they're still very fun, and I'm trying to do the Yagorath as well, but I'm going to do this one a little tiny bit smaller, just because I really don't want, you know, to have 10 minutes dragging of the same jokes and etc. Maybe I'll just do a 4-minute video and it's just gonna be fun and short and that's it. You know, it's interesting and that's it. Alright, but that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Till then, have a wonderful time. Stay safe out there, and I'm out. Bye-bye.